Have you ever taken a trendline breakout retest trade only to see the market turning around, stopping you out? It's one of the most frustrating things in trading, isn't it? You plot out the perfect trend line connecting all the dots, you spot the breakout, you get in on the retest. The retest actually works, but then very soon after that, it reverses on you, completely wiping out your stop loss, trapping you on the wrong side of things. Well, today I'm going to show you exactly why that happens so often and what's a better way of doing things, because trendline breakout does work, but only in the right context and only traded in the right way. Let me show you how. So the first thing you want to do is actually scroll down, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and turn on the notification bell. Having that said, let's actually dive into the strategy. Now here's what most traders are taught, at least in the conventional way. When you see a short-term trend like this right here on the Aussie US dollar chart, what you want to do is just connect all the lows here. Right here you can see I'm connecting the lows right there, and all the way up to this area right here. Now, once you have those trend line connected, the conventional way of doing things is once you have a breakout on the other side, that's where you want to take a retest to sell, right? Because that's indicating that a trend is reversing, right? So basically, using trend line to understand when exactly does a reversal happen. What would generally happen is traders would get in around areas like this and they would try to go for the next low. It could be areas like this, and this. If this is what you have been doing, I want you to pay really close attention. You often see that sometimes when a retest does come in, right, doesn't matter if it's here or right around here, there is a lack of momentum pushing price down. And instead, what happens next is things continue to push up. Once you see things continue to push up, the next thing might happen, which is price going all the way up like this after a retest. And then you're wondering, hold on, am I not supposed to take the breakout trade, or am I supposed to wait and see what's gonna happen on the breakout trade? So here's the thing. When you have a clear trend line, all the bigger players see that trend line. Especially the institutional traders. The institutional traders, they know these trend lines exist, and they know if they are able to push price down like this, it's going to cause the public to look for a retest to sell. However, who are the public going to be selling to? They're going to be selling to the institutional big traders. Say if traders are buying at the bottom of the trend line right here, right? Let's say if they are going for the buys that looks something like this. As price touch the trend line, they will simply just go for a buy, taking it up to the next high. Let's say if traders are doing something like that, if the institutional traders were to push price down, first thing that would happen is stop loss are triggered, okay? Sell orders are triggered. As sell orders are triggered, the second thing that will also occur is anyone who's looking at this as a breakout trend trade, they would jump in on the sell immediately as the trend breaks right here. They will get in their trade right around there. And the third type of trader would be the traders who are waiting for a pullback, right? They see a pullback that's coming in, and let's say we do get a pullback that comes in right around here, right there. Traders would get in on that sell right there. On this breakout right here, traders are hitting the sell. On this stop loss order right here, again, selling is taking place. So you can see when there's a clear trend line like that, it makes things very predictable for the bigger players. As soon as the trend line breaks, caused by the institutional traders, caused by the bigger players in the market, it's going to cause a shift in the mindset of a lot of traders. But the problem here is all of this is artificial. It's basically a false sense of momentum trying to get traders to look for a sell. And why is that the case? The more selling that's happening there, the more orders the bigger players are able to pick up and load up for their buy position. Because think about it, if you want to buy something, you need someone to sell it to you, right? And if you want to buy a big chunk of orders, you need a big chunk of orders being sold to you. In this type of situation, how do you get big chunk of selling order for the bigger players to look for buy? They need situations like this. They need a clear trend line. They need a clear break causing people to sell, and then they're on the other side picking up the buys, which would trap you on the wrong side of the retest if you're just simply trading a trend breakout retest strategy. So if you really pay attention to what's actually happening here, I want to take you through a step-by-step process. A few things are happening. First thing first, a very clear trend line. Second thing, a breakout of the trend line, which is causing a lot of false selling momentum. All of those three types of selling position, that's going to happen as the trend line break right here. The next thing that occurs, the bigger players have enough selling liquidity now, and they're gobbling up the sell and they're pushing price towards the upside. Once that has happened, all of the trap traders here are gonna be on the back foot, and the bigger players now have enough orders to push price higher. So see what happens right here. We can see all of the trap traders are now trapped. Bigger players are getting their order in, and slowly but surely price is going to go up sky high, just like this. So then the next question you would probably have is, when exactly does a trend line breakout actually work? The answer is pretty simple. You want to make sure that when you're trading a trend line breakout retest trade, you're actually following the trend. Because if we really look at what's going on Aussie US dollar here, we are in an uptrend. It's very clear that, from the lowest point, we are looking at it right here, and the highest point is right there. Just looking at this in a bird's eye view, we know overall price is going up. In this case, you always want to make sure that when you're looking for a trend line breakout retest trade, you don't reverse a big trend. The trend you want to reverse instead is the small little pullback right here, right? Again, this is also a typical trend line breakout trade. You have one touch, two touch, three touch, and as we break up and out of this trend line, we get a retest and price just goes up from there. Now, do you see why that trend line break retest work? It's not just drawing a line and looking for a break and retest. It's not that simple. It has a lot more to it, because now that you understand this trend line as well, it's telling you that, there's a lot more going on here. There is bigger players involved, manipulating the market, trying to push price down, getting people to sell, and then trapping traders on the wrong side. So if you really only want to trade a trend breakout and retest trade, make sure that you're not going against a huge trend. Alright, so let's have a look at another example on the pound yen chart on a 60-minute time frame. Now, if you look at something like this, it's pretty obvious where you would draw your trend line. You would connect the dots right around areas like this. Here, I'm taking this area into account, this one here, approximately this one, and this one right here. Now, again, see what actually happens. We have a huge break to the downside. Now, that's going to cause a lot of stop loss to be hit on the sell side, and on the pullback, traders are going to join in on the sell, not to mention any breakout selling traders are also going to be selling. So below this trend line, we know that there is a lot of selling pressure. It could be around here, especially on the retest of the trend line right there. We can clearly see that based on the price action. Now remember what I was saying earlier, check the higher time frame trend. In this case, if we really just zoom out slightly a little bit, we can see overall price is meandering towards the upper side, okay? And if we're going to the upper side, there's no way in hell you wanna be selling a break retest like that. You could sell and get away with short-term profit, don't get me wrong, but the true money would be made on a retest of the trap. This is where all the liquidity is gonna be built up, and the bigger players are really happy to see that because they are gonna grab the liquidity from this area on a pullback right around areas like this. Once they have grabbed the liquidity from these trap traders, smart money will also join, and that's gonna propel this trade to the upper side for a very long time. As you can see, with something like this, we could go up to the upper side for at least 4.5 R. Now I want to show you another example right here on the dollar CAD chart. Now this has a perfect example of what it means by being trapped on the wrong side, being the liquidity for the bigger players to grab in order to push price further. Now, if we look at dollar CAD chart right here, we can simply connect the dots right there. And if we really drag the line all the way down here, we have a very, very clear trend line connecting that area, that area, that area, as well as that area right there. And right around here, we have a trend line break towards the upper side. Now, on this trend line break to the upper side, price doesn't really go further, right? It went up slightly higher and then the drop starts to happen. If we really zoom out here using the technique that I have just spoken about, we are pretty much in a full-blown downtrend. If you're in a full-blown downtrend on a trend line break like that, these are not going to be trades you want to take. Even if they perform, it's just going to be a couple pips towards the upside. The better trade, the easier trade, the much more powerful trade is going to lie on the other side once we see anyone who is buying on the top of the trend line right here are trapped on the wrong side of things. So all of these traders, buyers right there, buyers right here, and in this whole chunk of area here, once this drop happens, everyone is going to be caught on the wrong foot. And once the pullback actually comes in, that's where the smart money would actually start coming in and the sell would propel even faster towards the downside. So for something like this, you could actually set up the trade very, very simply. And you could simply just put your order in right around areas like this, with your stop loss above all of these areas where the buyers were trapped before, and taking it down to the recent low with a very, very high probability of the trade performing. So if I really play this forward, you can see once price pulls back into that zone, we have a very quick reaction, strong reaction, and boom, right to target. These are the types of trades that really, really helps you with your winning probability. So hopefully by now you understand when exactly is it safe to take a retest on a trend line break, and when is it not safe, and how do you avoid being trapped on the wrong side of things, being the liquidity for the bigger players to push price further. Instead, you really want to make sure that you're patient enough to wait for other traders to be trapped and then trade alongside the bigger players. That's how you are able to make consistent profit in the market. Again, it's not about making 10 Rs, 8 Rs, 7 Rs once in a blue moon, right? It's about taking consistent high probability trade. And this strategy right here has a very, very high probability of working out. So don't just take my word for it. Go out there and try it out for yourself. And before you actually do that, do us a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye for now.